back at Business Hour. I hope you're still with us as we talk about the Widus Hotel and Casino. Okay, just before the break, we were talking about the interventions you did as you came in. Now, let's look prospectively. What are the future markets that you anticipate for Clark?
The next 5 years, especially if there will be flights that are coming in, although AirAsia we know have moved to Manila already.
Okay.
If AirAsia will be back, or if it will be filled in by any other airlines,
okay.
Basically I'm still looking at Asia.
Asia.
Malaysia could be one of your market for Clark. Why? Because both Malaysia and Singapore, these are your link towards India. India is one of markets after China.
Okay.
If you don't want a Chinese market, you can run after the Indian market.
In fact, there's a prediction now that China will overtake USA as a #1 economy by 2020, but by 2030, India will overtake China because of the population growth. Okay, okay.
Yes. #1, for Widus, I would rather concentrate more on an Indian market. As mentioned a while ago, one thing nice with the properties inside Clark, if they have their own niche market. I'll talk about Widus, wherein our niche market is Korean. But it's something that you have to go beyond.
Okay.
Then we have to start looking at what other markets that we can get. Not just only for Widus, but also for the whole Clark. Okay. Indian market is a potential market because they speak good English. Malaysian market, the Singaporean market, these are markets that are not really that big.
Okay.
And we cannot take into consideration that you have the Middle East market.
Okay.
The Middle East market is starting to come in. They might not be inside Clark, but they are right in the perimeter where Clark is.
Okay.
We know, you know already what we're talking about. The other thing that is really coming in strong are the Russian market. The only challenge for Clark is that we don't have a beach. But if we will synergize together with Subic, which is only like 45 or 30 minutes away, this is where we can capture the Russian market. Russian market normally stays about 3 to 7 days to 14 days. They normally stay long. The other Asian market, they only stay for 3 to 4 days.
So the Russians are looking for the beach.
Right now, the Russians are already here. They're in Boracay, they're in Cebu, they're in Bohol. But they have not discovered Subic. They have not discovered Zambales. And you have to get this market to fly to Clark to be able to capture this market before they go into the other destinations.
So this is a big market, the Russian market.
The Russian market. Aside from this leisure market, now you have Medical City coming in.
Yes.
You have good hospitals such as AUF and some other that are coming in. What is coming in strong to Clark, and not just only to Clark, but even to Angeles, is the medical tourism.
So we're looking at the retirement and healthcare.
Yes.
And if we can go over the hurdle of insurance portability, which I think Medical City is about to break through,
right,
then we can have that long-term tourism market.
Definitely, that is a market that, if this is what you call the high-paying market.
Okay.
A while ago, we're talking about the leisure market. This time, we're talking about high-paying market, wherein mostly of these are from Asia. The other thing that you have to start looking at, even the figures can tell you right now, there are a lot of Australian market that come to Clark or to Angeles just to do some surgeons like facial, the dental. Not just only that. You have the Middle East market as well. They are here that stays for about a week for their medical, we call it the medical tourism, wherein they normally package it out of Middle East and out of Australia just to fly in via Manila. So how much more if you will have flight coming in?
So that requires a lot of linkages with the Middle East tourism industry.
That's the reason why Widus is also participating this coming May for the Arabian Travel Mart.
How about halal food?
It's a bit of a challenge as of now because we don't have halal restaurant here.
Yes.
It's not quite famous, but halal food is easy as long as you have a halal chef that can do it. There's a lot of halal suppliers nowadays wherein you don't have to worry of storage, provided that you have your own canisters in your own kitchen. Just make sure that it's totally separate, because this is a totally different system, way of cooking.
So do you have plans of putting up a halal kitchen?
Yes, we do have.
Okay.
You know that you have the Emirates flight, you have the Qatar flights. We know that Emirates have already said that they're pulling out of Clark. But you have Etihad that are also interested. There are a lot of airlines that are interested. It's just only a question like who's next. Yes. Once this market is open, and I can assure that Clark will be the place.
So maybe the moment we are able to address this Middle East Muslim market, that would be a huge source of growth. I think that was what made Malaysia's tourism very successful, right?
Right.
So with that as the context, so what are the future developments of, that we can expect from Widus?
Widus is looking at an expansion. First is that this first quarter, we are doing the construction for the lobby. We should be able to open our grand lobby by the third quarter of this year. Mm-hmm. The grand lobby will now link you to the new tower and to the old tower. Okay. By the fourth quarter, we will now open the new casino. This is right now we're holding an old structure. Okay. We are moving into the new structure. It will be 3 to 4 times bigger than what we have right now. So by fourth quarter, that should be completed. By next year, we will be starting the construction of a 2,000 seating capacity to a 3,000 seating capacity convention center. That will take for at least 2 years to build, including the 300 rooms expansion.
So that will make you the biggest convention site in Central Luzon.
Yes. That's what we are aiming, is to ensure that when we have this convention center, you now have an alternative outside Metro Manila.
Now, is the way this convention center is configured, can it be expanded in the future to accommodate 4,000?
We still have a space at the back.
So that can be done.
That can be done.
So we just have to work together to convince your boss to make it 4,000.
Right now, I keep on telling the owners, you have a very big potential in Clark. It's just a question who will come in first.
Because there are a lot of conventions that would like to locate here, but we have a space limitation.
Exactly. The number one sustainable growth in some other provinces are still the domestic MICE market. Mm-hmm. You're not talking yet of the international MICE market out of Hong Kong, okay, out of Thailand, that are coming into the Philippines.
Mm-hmm. So a while ago, you were talking about the domestic market. You said they bring a lot of stability to the Metro Clark area. So what are you doing now to make sure that you have a strong linkage or strong presence with the domestic tourism market?
Number one, you have to have an entertainment. Number two, make sure that your place is very comfortable.
So the entertainment you were talking about would be like the concerts?
Concerts. So make sure that you have, because normally when they come in outside from Manila, for example, they'll be here to Clark. Mm-hmm. Daytime, they're basically out. Okay. It's either they're in Nayong Filipino, all the tourist spots within Clark or outside Clark. When they come in, they need now a good food, a good restaurant for them to dine in together with the family. Some of them come in earlier. They normally go to the pool. Make sure that your pool are child-friendly. Okay. Then you have a garden for kids to roam around, to play around. And we do show movies for kids. Okay. The other thing that we're putting a project right now is to have a bike lane wherein they can do biking for kids, and because this is one thing nice when you have bonding with your family. Okay. So that's what we're looking at for parents and kids doing a bonding together. At the back of Tower 2, we do have a huge garden. This is where we're looking at in terms of what you can do with your kids. In fact, we even have fishes, wherein like koi, wherein you can feed all these fishes. So this is something that you can look at for families.
So right now, what I'm hearing is basically Widus is geared for the family market.
Yes.
It's a wholesome family market.
That's for the domestic tourism.
Domestic.
For the international leisure market, normally it's for golf.
Golf. So, well, we have a lot of golf courses here, so that's no problem.
That's not a problem here.
So, by the time APEC comes in next year, we would have how many rooms available?
We as of now, we already have 233.
233. And the grand lobby would be available?
It will be available by the third quarter of this year.
And by that time, how your convention center could accommodate up to how many?
We can accommodate up to 650.
650.
Comfortable seating. And by last quarter of this year, we will be opening a theater type of function room that can have about 100. And we have small pockets of meeting rooms that have about good for 30 to 50, or 50
So
persons.
that could handle the breakout groups
Right.
of the APEC.
That's right.
I think we're going to entertain the ministers, not the chief of states,
Yes.
right? The
That's on the first, that will be January of 2015.
Okay. So, okay, so how are you now preparing the organization for this? Because right now you're in an expansion mode, right? How do you make sure that the organization is ready for all of this growth?
Right now, number one is that we're tapping the schools. It's very important that you have a reserve of talents already where you can get. There are a lot of schools now that are offering the hospitality
Oh
courses.
yes. I've heard that. I'm from the academy, and right now, from what I hear, is you have strong linkages with, well,
Colleges,
big universities like
universities.
Holy Angel University, right?
And what we normally do is we make sure we visit the universities. And we also tell them that what do normally hotels look for?
Okay.
Because normally I always ask for a student is what do you really want? You want in a hotel or you want in a restaurant? And most of them will say, I want a hotel. And some of them will say restaurant. I said, when he said, ask them, why? And they will say, because I want to serve. I said, the most important is you need to have the passion to serve.
Okay.
Because that's what hospitality is. It's something that you would like to look at when you start hiring people. You need to have that person, the heart of serving.
Okay. Talking about hiring people, why is it that people from the hotel industry go out of their way to become pioneer employees of a hotel when that is the most challenging job you can get? Because there are a million and one headaches that come with putting up a hotel, yet people from the general manager down to the take pride in saying, hey, I'm a pioneer employee of this hotel. What makes that so special?
One thing nice at opening a hotel, which is number one, is that you can now start bringing in all your experiences, putting it together. You can do a benchmark, and it is something that you would like to prove and say, I have not done this before, but I've seen it work.
Okay.
Why can't we put together? And this is an exchange of all ideas putting together, because you'll be working with different chain. There's some staff who came from here, who came from there. So you put it together, and you can have a good ingredient. And once it's being done and it's being implemented, it's now something you can say, I was part of the team.
Mm-hmm. So does that carry a certain prestige when you say, hey, I was the guy who set up this hotel?
That's right.
And then people say, ooh. Ooh. Now, let's talk about, you were talking about schools. Well, it's very common now to have OJT, or student on-the-job training. How do you feel about dual tech system? I think there's the academy is in a state of flux right now, and they're trying to come out with grades 11 and 12 that's supposed to come up with people who are ready for employment.
Right.
And I would imagine that maybe some segments or some of the quant could fit in, and maybe you can develop a curriculum with universities to develop those things.
Currently, we are working with some universities here. Not just only OJTs. OJTs is part of the curriculum.
Yeah.
But what we're trying to help right now is that because we're seeing that in the next couple of years, there will be a shortage of hospitality talents.
Yeah.
What we're trying to do now is that even though right now you're studying, if your schedule can fit in, we do accept working students.
So can you go into a mode like dual tech system, wherein you collaborate with the university, and that's part of their subject now. They report maybe 4 or 5 days in the hotel and a day in the, but that will require coordination with the professor so that this can be designed properly.
Actually, that's not new for the industry. In other countries like China, I work in Taiwan. It's the same thing. You study in a certain days. You work on a certain days. That's already being accepted in other countries.
Okay, well, I would imagine about a few schools are going to go knocking on your door.
Actually, we've already talked to a couple of universities here, and we're getting already like 2 or 3 inquiries.
Okay.
But we already have like 2 who have already started with us.
That's interesting. That's interesting, because you were talking about the supply problem.
Yes.
And so if you get into this, you are not part of the demand, you're part of the supplier. So the problem goes away.
We have thought about that actually. If there will be a shortage of demand of all these talents, what we're even looking at in the future is basically to have a couple of students wherein you pay for their tuition.
Okay.
And give them a guarantee that when you graduate, you get an automatic job with us.
Yeah.
But of course, that's in terms of payment.
Yes.
So that is something that we are working on right now, so that you don't have a shortage of talents in a couple of years.
And the good thing about that is you get to manage quality.
Yes, to screen
Because
the good ones.
first of all, the skills will be what you taught them, and you know the good ones already. By the time you hire them formally,
They're already an expert.
they're part of the family already. It's quite interesting the way industry and academia are collaborating, and the hotel industry has always been in the forefront of that.
We have to do that because once they have an experience, you start losing these people in working abroad. Me, I'm the type of GM wherein I will not stop you if you would like to work abroad. It is something that you can pay off what you've learned. You can help your families, and I think I've been once like that. So I support this type of employees.
Okay. Oh, we have to take another break. When we come back, we'll talk more about what we're doing here at Widus. So stay with us.